I used to work in this building.
What you did at Cipriani?
Security.
Word?
This is like 99, 2000. This was the train I used to take to work from Vice Avenue, 174, to Wall Street. And I was performing on the weekends. I had about, I would say like maybe 22 years that I didn't enter the subway. And it brought a lot of nostalgia. It was a really beautiful feeling. So meeting up with Ebro, we're gonna chop it up, tell him a little bit about my experience,
What up, boy?
early beginnings, and also talk to him about my album, Formula Volume 3.
You got me back downtown.
Yeah, man.
This whole area is crazy down here, right?
Yeah, this bring back memories.
Now you on your third installment.
The third and the last.
This is it, wrapping it up.
Yeah, man, that's it.
But is that how you wanted to close it from the beginning when you put out the first one?
To be honest with you, I didn't think back then like it was gonna go this far. I didn't even think it was gonna be like a volume 1 and 2. I just had so much music that it turned into 2 volumes. But the third one was more like an organic process, meaning I was working on an album not knowing what was gonna be the actual concept. And someone in my camp was like, yo, this is feeling like Formula vibes. We said, let's just continue with the trilogy.
Well, we'll talk more about the album. Walk me, I want to walk around, man. And so you coming from the Bronx down here.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, you're singing with the fellas yet? Y'all had Aventura yet?
Well,
like as the homies around the way and singing at church?
Those teenagers. So we would call those teenagers before Aventura.
Right.
So that was like the transaction, like
Right.
we were literally about to like change the whole concept of the group, the whole name, but I was still working 9 to 5.
Grinding. And so you catch the train down here. What train is that from the Bronx?
The 2. I used to take the 2. I used to take the 5.
2 and the 5.
From 1
And what section of the Bronx you from?
I'm from Vice Avenue.
Yeah.
Bronx.
Now, that's always interesting for people who get in groups, right? Because it's your passion, you want to sing. But are you confident that you're about to blow up?
So we linked up with a promoter in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
So he started promoting our album
To the radio station.
Yeah, it was an AM local radio station. So we started popping off.
And now it's bachata station. So this is like
No, it wasn't even like, it was just a tropical, like local station.
Got it.
So he began playing our music. So we started popping off out there. So imagine how I felt. I felt like a superstar in the weekends. On Monday, I had to come work 9 to 5 in this building.
Right.
So I guess I wasn't digesting at the time, like, yo, I could do this for a living and not work 9 to 5 ever again. You know, like it wasn't something that I was processing. I was just doing it because I loved music.
There's something to be said for the fact that you was just doing it for love.
Yeah.
And because that love is felt through the recordings of the music, I'm sure it's felt by fans when they meet y'all.
Yeah.
That shit goes farther than anything, right?
Absolutely. Not to sound repetitive, but when I started doing music, it was probably the one passion that I was really great at. And I guess I was like self-conscious because I'm like so passionate about so many other things I'm not great at that I used to tell people like, oh, you know, I write songs, you know, I sing, but I'm really writing these records for other artists.
Right.
So when I would sing some of my tunes, people would just compliment me. Like they were like, but you sing good. And I was, I guess, like skeptical about it. Like,
You wasn't sure. You wasn't confident yet. So now you're on this last installment of La Formula. And you've had all this success. I mean, you done sold out MetLife Stadium, you done sold out Yankee Stadium, you toured around the world. How do you feel at this point in your career? Like, what is the feeling of this journey right now?
I wanted to finish the trilogy, you know, this formula concept in the way it felt honest to me. You know, I have songs that some could perceive like, okay, this feels very personal, like Nirvana.
Yeah.
Like this is a record where like, I'm just venting, you know, I'm just venting to God.
What is your biggest inspiration?
Women. I believe that when you write a song that, you know, women could relate to, you're good.
Yeah.
Obviously, I want the fellas to also relate to my my content, but I think that's the best, I don't know if I'm wording this correctly, thermometer, like,
Yeah.
when
The measurement of the
vibes. When I put out songs, like I'm gonna give you a perfect example. I got this one tune in the album called Solo Conmigo.
Yep.
And the theme of that song is like just me embracing like this female that has like this, I would say like maybe a reputation.
Yeah.
But I don't care about that
That's
because
right.
I'm in love with her.
Right.
And I'm trying to tell her like, listen, I'm gonna support you, I'm gonna love you, and I'm not here to go evaluate your biography, you know? So it sounds a lot prettier in
It's more
Spanish.
romantic in Spanish.
But it's just basically to resume like a girl with a past that, you know, wouldn't be appealing to maybe
Insecure dudes.
yeah. Throughout my whole career, like there's a lot of songs that I've written with an objective, like let me do something commercial. I've done that, I've made that mistake,
Right.
but it doesn't connect as much.
Because you spent so much time making bachata records, bachata ain't for everybody. Like, you already know that. So people who are fans of it, they don't want to hear you trying to do no other.
Nah.
They like, nah, hold it down. You gotta hold it down. You have an
Yeah.
obligation right now.
Yeah, it's a responsibility that at first I wasn't really aware of. Like I was just doing music. I love that I've been able to try new things that probably have not connected, so that it's not really losing. It's more like, okay, that's learning. Like, okay, don't do that again. I've had records that I'm just trying like crazy, and I try to like come up with this theme that could be perceived as corny, or just like, okay, that's not gonna connect because this is not what we feel at the moment, or I don't believe Romeo would really say that.
Right.
But I always try, there's a saying in Spanish, and I'll say it in Spanish. I'll try my best to translate it. De los cobardes no se ha escrito nada. And it goes to the fact, nothing's ever written about cowards. So I love to try that I may fail, you know, but it's like, okay, but he stepped it up. You know, he tried something different.
I want to go through the album. You want to go
Let's
inside?
go.
I mean, because back in the day, you wasn't going inside to eat.
Nah, this was not even like my entrance. Like, this was like the employees' entry. So remember, I worked for the security company.
Right, so you wasn't inside getting Cipriani.
Nah, it wasn't like that.
You gotta walk us through this whole situation, because the first part of the album is, you know, it's quintessential Romeo Santos.
Right,
You know what I mean? And I mean, the second half is too, but the energy, I feel, picks up a little bit in the second half of the album. Like, Pero. Yeah, Solo Conmigo. And then the joint with Lapis on it. How you say it in Spanish? Culpable. Yeah.
Guilty.
So, guilty, right? Yeah. So the second half of the album, I feel, is a little bit more, thank you, man. I feel it's a little bit more, you know, how do I say, edgy.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I think Culpable is one of those records that, you know, describes, you know, my culture. You know, I'm a New Yorker, and I think we all grew up on that vibe. And a lot of people ask me, where did you get the idea? So this new generation probably knows that beat from Puff.
Right.
You know?
Right.
I got it from the I Got Five on it, you know? So I've been sitting with that idea for a while, and I reached out to huge producer, Vinyls.
Yep.
Dominican, amazing producer.
He's from up this way too, yeah?
Yeah. I'm like, yo, bro, look, I want to turn this. At first, he's like, you want to do that shit in bachata? I'm like, no. I want this shit to be like hip-hop. Like, I want to, you know, pay homage. And I've always been a fan of Lapis. To me, Lapis is probably one of the, if not the greatest Dominican rapper.
Yeah.
And, you know, I say, yo, this is it. I think this is the record. I kind of wanted to keep that same hook. I got five on it. Yeah. But what I did was, Spanish, you know, lo traduje. Yo soy culpable. And I felt that song was gonna connect with New Yorkers, Latinos, and Dominicans, like, you know, out there. Because if you listen to the lyrics, they're very raw, and the theme is like, you know, just the way he just started that verse. La Victoria, like that's a very famous, very known jail out there in DR, La Victoria. And it's just a guy telling a girl like, yo, I fucked up in the streets, you know, you advised me, I didn't take your guidance. I took it for granted. The dude is locked up, and he's like, "Yo, I'm guilty," and you know, it's a really dope record.
Like every time we sit and you describe the music, it's a mood. Like it's always through the lens of like, you know, a real drama.
Right.
You know, whether it's romance, it's very cinematic. So now you're on this third installment of Formula. You have how many classic projects? Utopia classic. I mean, not Out of Here. Golden, crazy. Formula Volume 2 is a favorite.
Yeah.
Right? All of those you were able to bring in OGs to round out the whole project and make sure that you kept the bridge built between generations, right? And even bringing them out on stage sometimes.
Yeah, you know, I've always told my fans and close friends, I'm gonna do this till the day I can no longer surprise my fans. You know, that surprise factor to me is very important. There's so many things that I'm just calculating in my brain like that have not been done in bachata. And mind you, I've done a lot with Aventura and then as a solo artist. Formula Volume 3 is just like a continuation of, oh, there is a lot more that could be done. You know, whoever envisioned, you know, Justin Timberlake singing bachata. And it's a fusion of pop with, you know, urban, I would say, like,
it's got R&B, pop,
yeah,
bachata.
But I've never done that before, you know? And even though I've done, you know, flamenco fusion with bachata, I have the queen, you know, Rosalia, that it's like the stamp of approval. I also tapped on like genres that I've never in the past sang in my life, like Me Extraño. That's ranchera, like with Christian Nodal. Like that has a lot to do also with the format I've used in Formula Volume 1 and 2. Like in Volume 1, I did an R&B, never did an R&B in my life. I think I also did a pop. Yeah, pop with Mario Dome. Volume 2, I did salsa with Mark Anthony, so that was like, oh, you know, very surprising. And here I'm doing merengue with Ruby Perez, Fernando Villalona, Toño Rosario, and Ramon Orlando. So I just want to give you, like, so you have some context. This is just an analogy. Imagine I tell you, yo, I got a song, a hip-hop record, and hypothetically speaking, I got Biggie, I got Pac, and I got Hove, and it was produced by Dr. Dre.
Yeah, it blows your mind. Yeah,
so this is to me equivalent to what I accomplished with that merengue, and it's one of those records that.
And that's the 15,500 Nights, Joe.
Yeah.
I think it's also too a celebration of it's not even just you, but just where Latin music is today.
Right.
From where you started, Young Rosalia, Bad Bunny. I mean, there's so many great artists that are contributing. How does that feel for artists like yourself to have so many great contributors?
I feel blessed, honored to just pave the wave, you know, and be inspiration to some of these artists that have publicly acknowledged, you know, that they were influenced with my music. Any Latino that's winning, we're winning.
That's right.
It's ironic, we're in a building right now with, that was my first experience, you know, like, having to deal with certain employees that they had their own insecurities, you know, and they were probably like, cause you know, word got around like I was doing music and, you know, like, you know, when you feel that energy, like people don't fuck with you or they don't think you're gonna make it, you reach a point where like, if they don't wanna destroy you, if they don't want to see you do bad, you're not doing something right.
Had to come inside off the street when you were working in the area. You didn't get to, you know, just come inside and hang out and eat at Cipriani. So I felt as you was walking us around and giving us some of your origin story, you know, it's kind of cool to just sit down. And now we done rented out the whole shit, you know, because Romeo Santos is here and he's a big name now.
Thank you. No, listen, you know, this is a sign that, you know, dreams do come true, that you just got to put in the work. So to just be able to reminisce and come around this area to me was a very nostalgic. And, you know, now we rented out Cipriani's.